Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Natasha Noriel and here on my channel we kind of talk about topics going on in the drag community right now, and we also get painted and put together little fun looks like this one here. It's kind of under the sea, mermaid queen, siren. You can see the wires. Anyway, in today's video we're going to talk all about the kind of alternative versus glam girl thing, the whole My Drag is Valid movement, and how that still applies today with Halloween coming up and everything. It was just something on my mind. So if you're interested in all that and this, fish on a stick, keep on watching. And just like that, we are back. I just had a particularly lovely bowel movement. So I'm feeling in good spirits, and I'm ready to get painted and have a good time. Can you believe it's almost Halloween? Like, as shitty as this year's been, the months are just rolling and rolling and rolling by. I feel like I don't even have time to plan for shit. I'm already booked for stuff in Christmas. And I'm just like, I thought we were on quarantine. Why am I so busy? No complaints though, obviously I love it. Someone's gotta pay my bills. So as always, I'm just gonna start priming my face with that NYX Hydra Touch. I realize there's so much better, higher quality brands, but I'm one of those high-low people. Some places I'll dish the money, other places I'm gonna scrimp and save. And honestly, as far as primer goes, the shit works. Supple as a baby's bottom. Now that we primed, I'm just gonna go to my trustworthy Krylon foundation stick. So anyway, speaking of Halloween, there's been a trend over the past few years that I've noticed all over my Facebook feed, and it's these sort of like memes and posts that seem to always reignite this sort of rivalry between like the pageanty girls and the alternative girls. I'm sure a lot of you drag queens have seen the post of Alyssa Edwards, and it'll be her with her America crown, and it'll be like pageant girls, and then right next to it, it's the exact same picture except for she's wearing white contacts, and it'll say pageant girls on Halloween. Kind of just implying that those girls don't really do spooky or know how to do Halloween stuff, just do their normal pageant prettiness and throw white contacts on and call it Halloween, which I guess offends some of the girls. But this is kind of an extension of the whole My Drag is Valid movement. Okay, it's eyebrow time. Look at that, I'm a man today. I can get my shit open myself. I've already alcohol prepped my eyebrows, so let's just go in. Now, a couple years ago is when I first saw this whole My Drag is Valid movement, and it came along with an influx of a lot of different kinds of entertainers coming out. You were starting to see more than just your typical glam girl drag queens out there on stage, which as it was starting and kind of coming into fruition, it was led to some mixed reviews. Some people were really open to the alternative girls, these queens out there that if they didn't want to wear hip pads, they didn't wear them. If they didn't want to shave their chest, they left it hairy and bare. You know, they have the bearded queens, the sort of gothic weirdo queens. And although this isn't necessarily new, god damn it, it was kind of becoming like the anti-trend. It kind of takes me back to middle school in a really strange way. All the little girls wanted to be Britney Spears, except for there was like that one or two that wanted to be Avril Lavigne, which is funny now because were they really all that different? I clearly went to a very Caucasian middle school. But there's always something innately cool about being kind of anti the norm. In a world of glamour girls, if you're something different than that, it gives a whole fresh new perspective on drag and what drag can be. It doesn't have to be glamorous and beautiful and obvious all the time. I'm patting down my eyebrows to make sure they are flatte. That's what the French call it. And as always, don't forget to set it and forget it. The only problem with being different is that it's always met with a large amount of criticism. It can take a while for an art to be understood. Sometimes people don't like change, sometimes people don't like different. So when you go that route, you have to kind of expect that to be potentially an obstacle. You know, people got used to seeing someone in a fully sparkling beaded rhinestoned evening gown giving you some Mariah Carey Hero, and then all of a sudden here's this entertainer coming out there whose proportions are totally different, no hips, maybe smudged out crazy makeup, bare chested with hair and nothing but X's on the nipples, with blood leaking out of their mouth. You know, it kind of catches people off guard. And you're left there wondering, is this bitch rabid? Do I have to call animal control? But if you allow yourself to be open-minded and really take in the drama and the creativity that's being presented in front of you, you can really enjoy what might be a great show. But when all this was kind of newer on the scene, it was very difficult for these entertainers to get booked. Just like I talked about with the bio queens, it takes a little while of kind of cramming something new down people's throats before people kind of start to understand. But this is hard to do when other entertainers won't book you. So when you have a bar that's ran by such and such queen, or showcast director or what have you, if they don't like what you bring to the stage or your whole aesthetic, that leaves you pretty much blacklisted. You know, how can you show what you're capable of doing if people aren't giving you a chance? God, this thrills me! Beat it, daddy, harder! Okay, the face is set. We're gonna go on to contour and highlight, taking some of that plains dust on my brush, tapping off the excess. And as a new entertainer, this is super frustrating because you expect a bar to want new talent, to want new entertainers to grace their stage. And everywhere you go, it looks like it's the same entertainers over and over and over again, and it doesn't feel fair. Toasted neck, toast that neck. So understandably, having the door closed in your face at so many different places is gonna leave you feeling a little bitter. Here you are, this young entertainer with a totally different style, totally different techniques, a completely different stage presence, and every flyer you see online features the same 3 or 4 girls. So that's gonna leave you with a nasty taste in your mouth towards those kind of glam queens or pageant girls or whoever it is that's constantly getting booked because they're not throwing you a bone. And it's kind of created a little subculture of like the alt girls versus the glam girls, which in my opinion is incredibly stupid. You know, we're all just highly average people throwing on some wigs and some eyelashes and hopping on stage. None of us are better than anybody else. Now, I kind of understand both sides of the coin. You know, I've definitely booked a lot of shows and had a lot of the same reoccurring guests. And a lot of times this is for multiple different reasons. One, if you know the person and you trust them, you know they're going to be there, you know they're going to be on time, and you know the crowd loves them, then that's definitely one reason why you have, you know, certain entertainers a lot. Also, budget is a big factor. You know, you can only have someone for free so many times before they outgrow it. And budget, a lot of places, you know, is just not always the best. It's not always the most amount of money to work with. And you want to try to be fair and give everyone an opportunity, but it doesn't always work out. There's been times where bars have asked me specifically not to have certain entertainers, whether it's, you know, the audience just wasn't receptive to them, or maybe they were rude at the bar, or caused some kind of trouble, or any whatever reason. But when you're in the position to book shows and you're told something like that, you kind of have to do as you're told. But as anyone who knows me knows, I'm always for the new entertainers. I'm always for the different entertainers. It doesn't have to be what I like. You have to think as an audience member, you want to go out there and see a variety of different entertainment. But what a lot of these alternative entertainers ended up doing is kind of banding together and starting their own little cliques, starting their own little shows at sort of just different places where their style of entertainment would be appreciated. And they brought their comrades with them. They brought all the entertainers with them that fit that kind of mold. And I think that's awesome. I think that's what you have to do sometimes. If ever you're in a position where you're feeling oppressed and you're feeling like you're just not giving the opportunities to someone else, find your own way. Find your own way to break through. Find your own place to entertain and make things work. And once people see how well that works for you, they'll be coming to you asking for bookings. They'll be finally reaching out to you to have you and your little following come to their bar now. Which in some situations you might tell them to go fuck off. But I would suggest against that just because you want to make yourself as widely accessible as possible. Okay, so I'm going to start on brows. They're going to end up being blue because I have this whole sort of mermaid inspired look I want to do today. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm going to use black to start off my eyebrows. Okay, I'm taking my P. Louise base in the color 0. Now, although most of these entertainers, from my experience, have been kind of awesome, cool people, fun entertainers like anyone else to be around, there are a few that sometimes can be problematic. There's girls that, you know, are constantly going on tirades about other performers or other bars, and it just seems to never end. Every couple of months, it's just the same kind of post, it's the same kind of troublemaking. Okay, so I'm going into that mini masquerade palette. I'm taking this really, really pretty blue color. I never realized how much I always use blue. Now I think why some of these girls do this stems from that feeling of unacceptance. People never forget when they've been hurt. They never forget when they're not accepted or not wanted by a place or a group of people. And no matter what you do, there's kind of no coming back from that. There's kind of no getting out of that. And I think a lot of it stems from hurt. Okay, I'm going in with a little bit of a lighter turquoise color, but unfortunately being problematic only makes it harder for you to get booked. You know, there are people out there who think that their claim to fame, their claim of getting noticed in some way, is to constantly cause controversy. And I never take them too seriously, the things that they say or do, because I kind of feel like I know that that's exactly why they're doing it. But it's really not in a positive way. You may have had a bad experience at a bar. We've all had bad experiences at certain places. But if you decide to take it to social media and start blasting everyone and blasting everything because you had a bad time, you know, whether it was warranted or not, other people on your page are gonna see that. Other bar owners are gonna see that. Other showcast directors are gonna see that. And if I'm the showcast director at such and such place, and I see how much you're bad-mouthing and destroying another establishment, I would probably never book you. And you have to keep that in mind. Some things are just better left unsaid. Just take your success somewhere else and move on. Okay, I'm taking this really sparkly dark blue and putting it right here. I'm blue, double-dee-double-die, double-dee-double-die. But anyways, although a lot of these girls have found success with their peers in their own little venues, a lot of them still needed to vocalize kind of what they went through and kind of what they're still going through. And I think that's where this whole My Drag is Valid movement came from, where these entertainers, whether they be alternative entertainers or drag kings or male entertainers or AFAB queens, started posting a lot My Drag is Valid on different social medias, showing all the things that they're capable of doing and letting us know that they're not really getting the respect that they deserve. You have to remind them, hey, my drag is valid. And I'll admit, I was one of those people that was like hella annoyed with it at first. I'm like, good freaking lord, not another one. But I have to admit that that's a good way of doing it. They're cramming it down our throats so that we see they want to be seen. Okay, I'm gonna add the black to line my eyes and kind of deepen the crease. Now I've noticed in more recent times that things are starting to get a little bit better, at least around here. I mean, before the shutdown. I started seeing a lot more variety in shows. I started seeing a lot more different kind of entertainers working together, which is how it should always be. I may just think of it from the standpoint of, as a viewer, you know, we want to see variety. That's what makes up a great show. You want to have that like extreme beauty queen. You want to have that dancer that's gonna flip and climb the rafters and do all that crazy shit. You want to have someone on the microphone that's gonna be really funny and just crack the audience up and make them laugh every 2 seconds. You want to have a freak that's gonna spider crawl up the stage and keep you guessing, you know? You want to have different colors, different sizes, different genders. And I think people are finally starting to realize that when they're booking shows and making more of an effort to reach out to different places and different parts of the community to find these entertainers. I mean, and everything's not sugar and rainbows. We don't always have to like each other. I don't like most of y'all. But I'll respect you. Anyways, that leads us back up to the post that I initially was talking about with the side-by-side Alyssa Edwards thing. It stems from all of this. You know, as we're in Halloween season, you know, we have like 1 more week till Halloween. This is when those alternative entertainers become a hot commodity for 1 day out of the year, 1 week out of the year, and that's frustrating to them. I've seen a lot of posts that say, book spooky queens all year round. And I agree. You should be booking these different kind of entertainers all throughout the year, not only when it's convenient, because let me hire a couple of these spooky kooky weirdo entertainers for 1 day and then just never call them again for the rest of the year. That's not right. And also I think that Alyssa Edwards' post is kind of those entertainers' way of telling the glam girls, step your pussy up. It's Halloween. Don't be afraid to smudge your makeup and do something different and weird. You know, don't just throw in white contacts and call it a day, which I tend to do a lot. But at the same time, Halloween is so subjective. You know, there are little girls that want to be fairy princesses, and there are little girls that want to be rotting, decomposing corpses. If you're a fairy princess girl, that's okay. Be a fairy princess. Ultimately, my point is, quit being so goddamn judgmental, bitches. Or at least judge a little more silently. Like I do. I feel like I want another color, like on the bottom or something, so. Also, let me know, all you alternative entertainers out there, how was your journey? Has it gotten better over the past few years? I rely on y'all to keep me in the loop. I believe it's that time, BB. Blush and bashful time. BB. Now last week we didn't have blush and bashful time because I was green. It just felt unnecessary. So I need to make up for lost time and really go in. Okay, I'm gonna take a blue eyeshadow and go into fill in this eyebrow. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of this turquoise craft glitter. Okay, so I want my face to be super highlighted, as always. Okay, so now we're gonna do a nice fun blue lip. I don't have a blue pencil, so I'm gonna use this Wet n Wild Blue multi-stick. I bought this when I bought the green one from the last video. And I think I can line my lips just fine with that. Okay, and then I'm going into one of my many, many hard candy shades of lipstick and going into The Sky's the Limit. Alright, so that's the face pretty much done. Now I'm gonna throw on hair and costume and we'll be all done. Under the sea, under the sea, everything's better down where it's wetter. Alright, so this is the final look. I think I'm kind of giving siren, mermaid queen, that kind of thing. I don't know if I'm wearing these gauntlets right. I feel like maybe they should be the other hands. Girl, I don't know. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video where we talked about the alternative queens versus the glam queens a little bit. Hopefully learned a little bit of appreciation for different styles. Hopefully learned a little bit of appreciation for each other. Also let me know down below what you want to be for Halloween. What do you have planned? It's a week away. We don't have a lot of time. But that's alright. We'll come up with something. And the joke's on you today. I had Chipotle before I even started. Which explains the bowel movement. Anyways, I hope you had fun with me today. And until next time, night night.